everyone, this is Conrad for thegamersheep.com, and I'm going to explain how to build a steering wheel mount. So for all those fans of GT5 out there that got their new wheel like the Thrustmaster or the Logitech G27, this little video may come in handy because for those wheels you need something to mount those wheels on. If you don't play by a desk, then you have to have some kind of mount to be able to play. So if you have any questions, my email will be at the end of the video. And first off, in the beginning, I'm going to explain what you'll need, some materials that you can pick up at Home Depot, and then it goes on to the video part of this clip, and that's it. Enjoy! So to build this rig, you are going to have to use some power tools, such as a circular saw to cut your base to the adequate size that you need it to be, and you will also need a grinder to cut the metal pieces and round the edges so they won't be sharp, so you'll cut yourself or tear any clothes. All the materials you'll be able to purchase at Home Depot, and it shouldn't cost you more than around 70 bucks. So here you go. First off, the most important thing is the angle, zinc slotted angle, and you will need 4 of these, 2 of which should be minimum 40 inches and the other 2 should be minimum 24 inches. I don't know in what sizes they come in, so the minimum is 40, that you'll need 2 of 40 and 2 of 24. Why minimum? Because of your height. I'm 5'10", and that's the length I have on my rig. So if you're a little taller than me, you're gonna need longer angles. Next up, we have a flat piece of aluminum, which is 1/8 thick, 3/4 wide, and 36 inches long, and you will need 2 of those. You will also need a angled aluminum piece, just like the slotted one you saw before this one, because you will need that to support your rig. So the measurements for that one is 36 inches long, and you'll be cutting that in half. And the rest of the measurements are just the same as the flat aluminum piece. And of course, you'll need 14 bolts to put your rig together, and 12, not 14, 12 wing nuts, and 12 rubber gaskets. The reason why we're going to use wing nuts is because you won't need any wrenches to put the rig together. And also, if you want to take it apart, you won't need any wrenches to do that. Okay, so for the base, you're going to need 4 round cups. At least that's what they're called. And you're going to be screwing those in with these screws. So you're going to need at least 4 screws for that. And another 4 to screw in your slotted angle to your base. But that depends. If your base is made out of a single piece of plywood, then you're just going to need 4 screws. But if it's made out of several pieces of some kind of board, or 2 pieces of plywood, or whatever, then you'll need more screws. And of course, you'll want to paint your rig. I just use regular spray paint, black, flat finish. And you might also want to pick up some double-sided tape, which you'll see why later. I didn't take a picture of any kind of base for the rig because simply, I don't know, maybe you have some piece of plywood at home. The measurement for the base should be 24 inches by 18, and as I said, it can be plywood, it can be some kind of boards put together by the slotted angle that you'll see. Okay, so first I'm going to start off with measurements. I'm going to go from base to the top, and then I'll explain some stuff after that. So the base is 18 inches by 24 inches. That's 2 feet, so 18 wide and 24 inches long. And you want the 24 inches, the first angled slotted zinc thing here. So next one is this angle, which is, if I remember correctly, 39 inches. So you'll need two of the 39-inch long slotted angles. Then you're going to need 2 flat aluminum pieces, which are 31 inches, or around 31, because you're going to be cutting them down on the ends here. So 31 inches. And then your top board for the wheel mount is 29 inches. It can be shorter, it can be longer, but 29 is a pretty good length. It works out for my wheel and the shifter, and there's lots of space for extra stuff. And the last thing, oh, not last thing, these little support beams are angled aluminum with holes on top and bottom, and they are 18 inches long, okay? And last but not least, are these little aluminum supports, and they're I don't know, actually around 4 inches. That you'll have to see by yourself because you will be adjusting the angle of your wheel mount to your height. So now on to explaining how to build it step by step. So my wheel mount folds because I live in a small apartment, so it needs to be pretty compact, and I need to, you know, hide it in the closet or whatever. So it folds. That's why we have this support thing here. So first off, you're going to start out with your base. It can be made out of a single piece of plywood or several boards. It really doesn't matter because you can screw everything into place thanks to these slots, because you just take a screw and, you know, put them into the board. So how many boards you have, you just screw them in, at least 2 for each side of the board. I mean, for each, you know, end of the board. So if you have a board that's one piece, you'll want at least 4 screws on each end. Then you take, then you cut your first angle here to the same length as the base, and you cut the corner. You cut the corner here on an angle, and each corner, I'm going to say this now, and each corner you want rounded because they're pretty sharp, and you don't want to cut yourself or tear any clothes or socks or anything. So each corner on every single piece of metal you round out with a grinder. So you got the base screwed on and held together by the first zinc slotted angle here. The next thing you want to build is this long beam, and you'll need 2, of course. And the tricky part here is that you have to figure out your height and how high you want this to be, and the right level you want your wheel mount to be. The best way to do that is sit on the chair or whatever you're going to be sitting on when you're going to be playing, and just you know, hold it up, and some other person measures the height for you. When you got the height, you okay, get this closer here. Okay. The way to get this angle on this board is simply this is all one piece except this one, right? That's extra for support, but you cut out a triangle on the angle, and then you just fold it. So you cut out the triangle on this side, and just bend it, and then adjust your level, and then put it in place, secure it with this flat aluminum, and just, you know, use the holes on the angle and holes that you drilled in the flat aluminum. So that way you can figure out what angle you want the wheel mount to be. So that's pretty flexible. Yeah. And if you have any problems and don't understand what I'm saying, just write me an email. I'll give that at the end. So when you got your correct angle, you want these two flat beams going across for stability. Trust me, it works like magic. But I did mine all the way from the bottom. You might want to raise the X a little higher, because if somebody has big feet, the feet might be hitting the X right here, right? So all you gotta do is just raise your X and start it from here instead of here. It really doesn't matter, as long as there's an X on the whole mount. Okay. Don't forget about the rubber feet on the bottom, of course. Okay, so we got that. I think we got everything. Last thing that you might want to do is put double-sided tape under the the pedals base, because they will slide on the wood. So just use double-sided tapes. It works like magic. And paint the whole thing black with spray paint. And of course, optional, I don't know if I mentioned this, the cup holder. You need a cup holder if you're driving around and drinking Coke or a beer. Just glue that on and you're set to go. So, oh, and of course each part is held together by a nut and bolt. Pretty standard stuff. The way I figured out support here is, as you can see, it's adjustable, right? And that works well if you have a younger brother that's shorter, or someone that's taller. You can adjust the height to them. And the way to set this in place is just a regular bolt. Stick it in whatever hole and height you need it to be, and voila, that's it. And you want to have two of these because it's not too good on one, so you'll have two on each side, and it's pretty sturdy, right? And you might also want to buy some rubber gaskets that you put between the bolt and the nut. Yes, I said nut. And that way it won't give it that racket, and it'll, you know, keep it a lot quieter, because, you know, a lot of metal parts grinding together, it makes a lot of noise, and you'll be driving that wheel that has force feedback, and, you know, a lot of movement going on there. So this is my rig. It's pretty beat up. I've been using it a lot. Even my dog chewed on it a little, but, you know, it's still working. Of course, I want to remind you again that you want every single edge, every single squared edge to be rounded and grinded to a round, safe, you know, and you want it to be touchable, because you don't want to cut yourself. And that's it. If you have any questions, hit me an email. It's Conrad with a K at gamersheep.com, and I'll try to explain everything. If you have any questions or don't understand what the hell I'm saying, hit me an email and I'll try to help you out. It's a pretty easy rig to build. Some power tools are needed to build it, like a saw to cut the base, and, you know, to grind down the edges on the zinc and aluminum parts. And that's it. It's a good rig. It folds. It does what it needs to do. I've seen rigs where people build them out of PVC, but I don't know how that can be really sturdy. So this has been Conrad for thegamersheep.com, and this is my homemade steering wheel mount, and a little tutorial on how to build it. I hope this helped. Later.